Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm in a very special part of the country where there's usually the rolling blue waves and, the golden beaches and chiseled bodies. I'm in Durban, of course, but I'm actually in a more dodgy part of Durban. Yeah, that's right. I'm standing in front of one of Durban's oldest hospitals, the Addington Hospital. As you can probably guess, we're going to be having a conversation about the national health insurance. Do we trust politicians to manage our healthcare? What are your views, the ordinary South African, the ordinary Durbanite, about essentially the state of healthcare in this country? Does the NHI, which is essentially politicians and government, taking control of all healthcare in the NHI fund, does that inspire confidence? Do you think that policy will suddenly fix that facility? These are the conversations we'll be having here on the streets of Durban. I'll be taking you in and around Durban, of course. We're here at the moment near South Beach at Addington, and we'll be talking to people who stream in and out of the hospital. What is your experience of the current state of our healthcare facilities, and do you trust politicians to fix that by essentially centralizing and nationalizing healthcare under the NHI and merely adding bureaucracy to the system? Do you trust those people with your healthcare? I'll also move to other locations in Durban as we talk to, as I said, a cross-section of South Africans on this issue, and I'll be bringing your voices to the Minister of Health this week on Thursday, as we in the Institute of Race Relations submit our petition. And of course, some of these clips, your views to the Minister directly, have your say, and you tell the politicians, stop the NHI and actually fix healthcare by going through some of the alternatives which are more market friendly and focus on quality as opposed to loading that system with cadres and friends. Have a look at the Institute of Race Relations alternative to the NHI, which provides for quality and of course universal healthcare by, as I said, opening up the market to this as opposed to opening up to cronies and politicians. You can find that, of course, on the IRR website at irr.org.za. But hey, let's get that conversation going. Do you trust politicians with your healthcare? Sir, thank you so much for your time. I'm talking to ordinary South Africans about issues that matter to you and I. Good healthcare, a safe environment that we live in, great education for our kids. But today we're talking about healthcare, of course. And the simple question I ask you is, I don't know if you yourself are coming to the hospital or you have a relative in there?
No, I have my wife in there.
Yeah.
And this place is not so clean as well.
Yeah.
As was the security-wise, is not so grand.
Yeah.
The people are getting pushed, hit, just to stand in lines, which disabled people have priorities, which they don't have any priority in life.
It's funny you mention these issues because the question I wanted to ask ordinary people is, do you trust politicians with your healthcare? I mean, this is a public facility. Do you think this is the best example of what healthcare should be?
Not really, yeah?
Yeah.
It's pathetic.
Yeah.
It could be a private hospital, the way it looks, which it's a government hospital, but no care at all.
Yeah. Maybe as a final question, and I want to put this to you, politicians right now are proposing a policy called the NHI, the National Health Insurance. What it will basically mean is every single hospital, every single clinic in the country will effectively come under the control of government, and then they will then control all the funding for healthcare. Do you trust a politician with that sort of power?
The politicians take the money, they go have their own fun with it. So it's not what they have in the money at all.
Yeah.
They should have a person, call it a trust fund in hospitals, and sort out the stuff.
Yeah.
They should have a person that work in the hospital will do the funds.
Yeah.
Which it's going to a politician, it's gone.
Let me put a proposal to you, my proposal, an alternative. What if I told you that we could take the budget that government spends on healthcare, and instead of pumping it directly into the hospitals, I could break it up into various vouchers so that you, the father of the household, for your wife, for your kids, you can actually purchase your own medical aid or medical insurance so that you decide which hospital you want to go to. Would that be a preferred alternative?
Yes, that would be better than suffering like this.
Very disappointed. On Friday when I came here, they refused to treat me. They wanted me to go back to King George.
Yes.
Yet I am a patient of the CNT clinic. They did treat me after I I told them it's my right
Yes.
to be treated. It's my right to medical treatment. Then they give me an appointment for today for the ENT to come, and there's no ENT on a Monday. Now you tell me how much of a waste of time it is for us, and we patients. Look at my ears; it hasn't been treated.
Absolutely.
I'm very disappointed with the treatments they give us here.
Ma'am,
Really.
I must ask you this question because I think your frustration is shared by millions of South Africans in the country. I must ask you this question. Do you trust politicians with your health care? I mean, if you look at the state of hospitals right now
No,
and you look at
don't.
the treatment.
No, I don't. You know why? The fact is that our Minister of Health doesn't come to these facilities and see what we go through with these people.
Yeah.
It's very, very annoying
Yeah.
because had they come here and sat like us patients and been here and been misled and mistreated and all that, then they'd feel it.
Yeah.
And we forced to because we are the poorer society. We are forced to come to these people. We don't have medical aids and stuff. And yet you come here and you get treated like this.
Ma'am,
Really.
maybe as a final question, let me share something with you. So right now, the Minister of Health is proposing a policy called the NHI, the National Health Insurance. And what they want to do is they want to create essentially more of this. They want to take all the funding that goes into healthcare, control it themselves as politicians or as government, and then decide where you get your healthcare. So if they say to you, you must go to RK Khan or Prince Mshieni, you'll have no choice. They'll tell you where to get your healthcare. Over and above that, they will control all the funding for healthcare. So if you have like surgery that you need to do, for example, and there's no money, then there'll be no money. What do you think of an idea like that?
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. It's because we put them there through our votes. They should be working for us.
I fully agree.
The poorest, they should be working for us, the poor people.
I fully agree.
And if they're not going to do it, then why should we even vote for them? Why are they sitting there?
Absolutely. Ma'am, maybe as my final point, let me leave you with my alternative, what I would like to do to improve healthcare for the poor. Let me know what you think about this idea. I'm of the view that it's high time we take the power and the resources away from politicians, away from government, and put them into your hands, the mother in the household, the father in the household. And how do we do that? We could take the health budget, break it up, and I could give you a voucher. With that voucher, you can buy your own medical aid. And of course, with medical aid, you can decide where you want to go and get treatment. Would that be a better alternative?
I think really, because if it's to gain us, the poor,
Yeah.
we in for it.
Absolutely.
We are in for it.
Government right now, politicians, if you will, are proposing a policy called the National Health Insurance. So all it is what they want to do is they want to control all the funding that goes into healthcare in this country, whether it's from the private or public. They want to control it into one fund that they control, and then they decide, for example, where you get treatment for this or treatment for that, etc., etc. Do you think that's a good idea? Do you trust politicians with your healthcare?
No, I do not trust them
Yeah. And
because they speak too much of lies.
I would
They
agree
come,
with you, right?
yeah, they tell you this and that they can do, but
Yeah.
come end of the day, they do nothing for us.
Yeah. That we need to take the power and the resources away from politicians, away from government, and put them into hands, the hands of people like you, fathers in the household, mothers in the household, ordinary people, families. One of the ways I'm proposing we can do that is, let's take the health budget, break it up into vouchers for poor families, and have you decide where you want to buy your medical aid so that you can access any health facility you want. Would that be a better alternative?
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
Yep. Sir, in that case, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to take your voice to the Minister of Health, by the way, because we're going to be taking this video to him so that he can actually watch what ordinary South Africans are saying and what they want. So thank you for your time.
Okay,
Thanks.
you. Bye.
All right, guys, we're going to keep the conversation going. We're going to find more people to talk to as we put the alternative. Do you want more of this in the country where politicians control everything, where they tell people where to access healthcare? Or should we be having a change of approach where we give ordinary people the power and the resources? You're watching The Big Liberty Show. Ma'am, you've just come inside from Addington Hospital. I hope you got the treatment you needed, but I'm talking to ordinary South Africans as they stream in and out of the hospital about healthcare, the current state of our government-run facilities. Are you satisfied with how our hospitals and our clinics are being run at the moment?
Not 100%, but
Yeah.
they're getting there.
Yeah. That's good news, because for a lot of people, that I speak to, they say, look, things haven't changed, or if they have changed, it's more like an aesthetic change, like they'll refurbish hospital, but it's still the same poor level of quality of healthcare. So I'm glad to hear you say things are seemingly on the up. Let me share with you what politicians are proposing then. So the Minister of Health right now has basically said, look, what we're going to do as government is control all healthcare in the country, all spending in particular. They'll put into one pot of cash that they then control. And I don't know, I often ask people the question, do you trust politicians with that sort of power?
No.
Right. I think you're one of the sane ones then, because, or not even one of the sane ones, everybody says that. I think it's the right response. And let me then perhaps put an alternative to you. So they're proposing the NHI, which basically means all they do is they add more bureaucracy to state hospitals and they control all the funding for healthcare. I'm of the view that actually funding, things like funding and resources, should be in the hands of ordinary people like you and me, ordinary families. How you do that is you could have the healthcare budget be broken into vouchers and allocated to poor families as a voucher. And that poor family can then decide where they shop around to buy medical aid. And of course, medical aid gives you options to choose where you go to. Would you be open to a system like that of vouchers?
At the moment, I go to Gateway Clinic, where I go to Clicks.
Yeah.
So they provide their Gateway Clinic for me.
So,
Click.
sorry, maybe if I'm understanding you properly. So, is the Clicks, is the Gateway Clinic a private facility?
Yes, they're semi-private. I don't know exactly how it works, but they deal with chronic people. So I go there for blood pressure medication. Every 6 months I go to see the nurse there, and they prescribe, and every 6 months.
Maybe as the last question, do you see a noticeable difference between a wholly state facility and a public-private facility? Is there like a difference between the two?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is better in your view?
Well, the semi-private.
Yeah. I'm going to be popping oddball questions here and there, but at the heart of it is, which do South Africans prefer? A system which prioritizes the state and politicians and a bureaucracy policy like NHI, or private options, them being able to have the freedom to choose? So we've had this conversation about the quality of state healthcare, and you mentioned that you're not very happy with the quality of ngaphakathi lana. Can I put the alternative to you? The alternative yami ithi asithathe imali kahulumeni ebudget ka-health siyihephule siyinike nina njengabantu bomndeni, so ubaba wekhaya, umama wekhaya, for wena to decide ukuba uyithengaphi i-medical aid yakho, noma ke uyakusipha isibhedlela ngemali esesandleni sakho, i-voucher, so ngeke uyidleke noma ikuphi, but nje
isebenza esibhedlela.
Yes, what do you think about the alternative enjalo? Would you want me to go to Minister of Health and say, baba, nakho kufunwa abantu asiyenze kanje?
Ngiyacabanga ukuthi mfethu eqinisweni nje lilonke iqiniso kufanele kube yithina abantu esiyibhekelelayo uma kuza kwezempilo.
Absolutely.
Into ongayibheka nawe uyibhekisise nje uma kuza kwezempilo ikakhulu kuma public hospital. Kunalento ngibuke ngazuthi mhlawumbe ayisenzeke yayenzeka. Uyabo? Uma ukuthi uyabhekisisa uyasebenza awusebenzi kunemadlana ezifunakalayo uma ufika ezibhedlela, uyabo? So what if awunayo leyo mali?
That's right.
Uyabo? Usuyabizwa kulama rooms akhona obani revenue ukuthi no wena uyakweleta blah blah blah, so you must go to Department of Labor and bekwenzela incwadi ukuthi you are not working at all. So what if ngiyagula ngiyafa ngizofika nini ku-Department of Labor ngiyokwenza leyo lokuzana, but if imali ibingakumina bengizokwazi ukuthi ngiyisize ngicile ngisizakele ngingakubanga kule simo ngabe ngiba kusona.
Baba, ngiyavuma now, and I think i-alternative yami ifuna ukwenza kona lokho, ukufaka imali ne-resources ezandleni zakho kube wena okhethayo.
Kungawumqondo omuhle loyo, kodwa lo abawucabanga mhlawumbe ke bephinde becabange futhi
NHI.
Yeah, lo NHI ake sithi nje maybe they must think again.
Baba, I hope you get i-treatment oyidingayo. Ngiyabonga kakhulu isikhathi sakho. Thanks, Baba. Hey, tada. There you have it again. We need we need to think fresh about how we deal with healthcare. And in my view, the idea of giving politicians more power and more control, ordinary people on the ground don't want that. They don't trust that. How about we take the money and the resources and we put it in ordinary people's hands for them to decide where they get their healthcare?